WWE may have gone on about a women's revolution a while back, but they were just empty words. Last night on Raw, the truth came out. Not only did Sasha Banks and Charlotte main event the show, but they had a great match and we had a title change that actually meant something. And, if we're being honest, the women's title may actually mean a bit more than the Universal title at the moment. Anyway, it's Tuesday, it's ups and downs where we sniff through Raw and decide whether we liked it with a simple up or whether we didn't like it with a simple down. I'm Simon from WhatCulture, and let's uppity those downities. Let's start where we just got off, and yes, the women's title match on Raw was a huge up. It closed out the night and showed what Sasha Banks and Charlotte can do in a 20x20 ring, and yeah, it's a bit weird that WWE loves to change that championship on Raw, but I get it with TV ratings, they're down, you want to recapture the magic. It's probably leading to a final contest between the two at the Hell in the Cell pay-per-view, and maybe the match itself will actually be in the cell. We've never seen that in a women's match before, and I think it'd be great. More power to them. But either way, this should be the start of a lengthy Sasha Banks reign, and that's exactly what we all want, and it's exactly what we all need. Ashton Kutcher and Danny Mastodon's commentary on Raw was a huge down. I'm not spending any more time on it than that. It's not worth it. It's not worth it. I'm not taking up precious YouTube minutes by talking about that. It was bad. And the reason I don't want to spend too long on that is because their backstage segment with Chris Jericho and Kevin Owens was an up. Of course it was an up. Chris Jericho was in it. And if Chris Jericho is in something, it's an up. I don't care anymore. I'm going to keep singing his praises each and every week. He makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside. While yes, this was just a big advert for Kutcher's and Mastodon's new show, Jericho popping up on the other side of the screen to say it was wonderful. It didn't go too long, it was entertaining, and let's face it, we've seen a lot worse celebrity appearances than this. So I'm happy to roll with it. On the subject of Jericho, their segment with the New Day was another massive up, and Jericho's delivery of "you're on the list" gets better and better each week. And I know I just said it, but I'm going to say it again. I'm a massive fanboy for Chris Jericho now, so if you don't like it, there's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. Because I'm going to keep going on about him each and every week until, eventually this runs its course and maybe I get bored of him. But right now, perfect. WWE also used this to plant a seed for a future feud between the two. Not only did they both keep putting their own name at the start of their tag team name, so Chris would call it Chris and Kevin would call it Kevin and Chris, but when Jericho said to Owens, "Hey man, I haven't even asked you for a championship shot yet," the crowd went mad, because we all want to see it, so this is all working wonderfully. Furthermore, the New Day's reaction to being put on the list was like school kids who just got caught by their principal. So it was all great. Well done, chaps. Well done. Sticking with the tag team division, Galas and Anderson are in a really weird place right now. Raw seemed designed to pitch them as a dominant tag team that had run through the division over the last few months, but we know that's not true. They had a 45-year feud with the New Day and then spent the rest of their time going on about other people's testicles. Trying to rebuild them as a kick-ass pairing is exactly what WWE needs to do, especially because they've lost most of their matches. But don't pretend this has been the case from the start. Don't lie to me. I'm a human being with feelings. Down. Putting Seth Rollins in a backstage interview with Michael Cole was a great way to continue his journey to facedom. Up. Not everything has to happen in the ring, and this gave Seth loads of time to not only get his points across, but allow the fans to start feeling sorry for him. I still don't think the trigger is going to be pulled properly until Triple H comes back, but right now the foundations are there, which is fine. So, that Titus ONeil thing. Bit bizarre. Reappearing back on Raw as if by magic with a new Titus brand gimmick, which kind of feels like he stole that from Darren Young, and that Darren Young is now dead. He did come back on Raw and then he lost to Sami Zayn. Now, Sami winning is a definite up. He's been aimless since Battleground, and any momentum he can get right now is good. And Titus is no slouch. But why did Titus come back with a new gimmick and then just lose? Why? I mean, ultimately, it doesn't matter. It makes no difference to anything. But it is odd. And sometimes odd things make me feel a bit uncomfortable. And this made me feel a bit uncomfortable. Down. Okay, we're in bizarro territory again when I have to give something a down, even though I kind of think it's an up, but ultimately what's happening makes it a down. Or something. Now, Roman Reigns. I like what WWE is doing with him at the moment. He's not at the top of the card, he's a good US champ, and his feud with Rusev works because the two work well together. His character, however, is still not getting the responses it's meant to. So I can't stand here and say it's going really well. When Lana came out, the crowd cheered and thanked her for interrupting Roman Reigns. On top of that, why does the US title match have to be in the Hell in a Cell? That's what people get mad about, WWE. You keep giving Reigns all the breaks and they sit there going, that man gets all the breaks. And then we don't like him. No need for that. In fact, next week on Raw, just take it back. Normal match or a different kind of match, but not that match. That's a down. I'm sick and tired of people telling me I shouldn't like what I like, because if I like it, I like it, and therefore, Sheamus and Cesaro are getting an up. The way these two got together is ridiculous, but I imagine over the coming weeks they'll develop a healthy respect for each other, and in the meantime, the two acting like kids who got told they've got to get along is pretty good. I mean, it's nonsense, but it's pretty good. I particularly enjoyed Cesaro throwing Sheamus's bags out the car, and that WWE went to the trouble to tell me that Mick Foley had ordered that they ride together. So I'm not sat there going, why the hell are these two riding together? I know, and it all fits together in a lovely package. Hey, Braun Strowman is sick of being put in squash matches and wants some real competition. That's good, that's an up, because now this whole thing can build and develop like it should. By this point, the man is a beast. He's eaten people alive for weeks, and now it's time to throw a recognisable name in there to see what he does to that guy. I mean, we know Strowman will kill them and feast on their bones, but this is exactly the right thing to do, and probably at the right time. However, let's backtrack a bit, because we need a name to feed to Strowman, and that may not end well. This is the list of Miller, which, yes, is straight up gimmick infringement. But I've written some names down on here that I worry are going to be thrown into this mix. Neville. Zayn. Well, that's all I've got. But if either of those men get thrown in there, I'm sorry. That is a down. WWE may not have had a clue this week if the match between TJ Perkins and Brian Kendrick was for the Cruiserweight title, but they still did a good job in evolving that feud. Perkins was homeless. Kendrick sees this as his last chance to get to the top of the mountain. We know the motivations for both guys, and they went out there and genuinely made you think they were trying to win. Stuff. Kendrick getting the victory here probably sets up one more match for the title, and I hope Perkins leaves still the champion. But the Cruiserweight division gets stronger by the week. Yes, it still needs more work, but as for now, an up. I know I come away from most Raws a little more positive than most, but I thought that was a decent show. A title change, some fun segments, Chris Jericho. It's not to like. It'll be interesting to see what happens to the ratings after last week's presidential debate mauling, but quality-wise, I don't think things are that bad at the moment. Now go over to WhatCulture.com and read the article by Scott Carlson that this whole thing was based on, then drop a comment below and don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and you can come yell on me at Twitter at SimonMiller316. I'm Simon from WhatCulture, and I will always look on the bright side of life, because otherwise what's the point? I may as well find a bridge, just hurl myself off of it. Not gonna hurl myself off a bridge. That is way too dark of a way to end this week's ups and downs. Oh well.
This Thursday, for the first time on iPay-Per-View, WCPW refused to lose. Alberto El Patron, the Mexican sensation El Ligero, the Kiwi buzzsaw Travis Banks in a triple threat for the WCPW Internet Championship. Mr. Brexit, Doug Williams, takes on the grandson of a plumber, Cody Rhodes, answering Nixon Neal's open challenge for the WCPW Women's Championship, Kimberly. The Iron Man, Joe Coffey, takes on Minoru Suzuki. Rampage versus Adam Blumpier in a street fight. Joseph Carnes will defend his WCPW Championship against Martin Kirby. And the local hero, Joe Hendry, will take on the American hero, Kurt Angle. WCPW refused to lose. Thursday, 7:30, 2:30 Eastern, only on iPay-Per-View.